Are we live? We're live? Oh, we did it, you guys. Pop in, say hi. If you've never come to one of my lives before, it's an adventure. Welcome, welcome. I explore the inside and the outside, and here on Sunday nights, I have a specific live show called Chatters Live. It's a show that I have had on this platform for years now. Every Sunday night, we get together and hang out. The only time that I'm not here on Sunday, I may be a few minutes late, but I am always here on Sunday night, with the exception of when I go on holidays. You guys, this is the first night that we're going to hang out together in 3 weeks, I do believe. 3 weeks? We haven't talked, well, maybe 4 weeks. This is 4 weeks now because the night before I left, I didn't go live either, right? So for 4 weeks, I have been on my own adventure with myself. Pretty incredible. Hello, Owen. Hello, dear. How are you? Did you miss me? Hello, Andrew. Oh my goodness. I was just in a little bit of a panic trying to go live. I was all ready to go. In truth, I was still a couple of minutes late, so to say that. But for the past 5, 6, 7 minutes, I've been freaking out because I haven't had any internet. Now, you guys, if the weather is a little bit funky here and my internet cuts out, if you bear with me for a few minutes, I will come right back in. It only takes me a couple of minutes to set up the live show again, and I will be right in. So if I do happen to disappear, we're having a little bit of an internet issue. I expect this at this time of year. And I kind of got used to the routine that things just are not going to come easy for me, that I'm going to have to do a little bit of push back when these kind of things happen. And I know that things will crack for me and things will open up for me and things will work out. So I don't I don't really worry about it at all, but I am aware of it 100%. Hello, Kathy. Hello. I'm home. You guys get to listen to me blabber a little bit about my trip today. I have cleared my laptop. I did have a busy couple of days coming up. My boss has asked me to pick up a shift. So I am working tomorrow, but also one of my sisters is packing up and she's getting ready to leave her house. It looks like she sold her house while I was on holidays. And now we have to go through that process of getting her comfortably with the least amount of stress as we possibly can. Get her out of that place, tie those, cut those ties that have created a lot of the mess that she got herself into. We all get ourselves in those messes, right? It's nothing for any one of us to admit to that. And it's good to admit to that because, you never know. I was talking about this last night on my Instagram with somebody I was talking to, that you never know where those opportunities lay. You never know. And unless you're speaking and doing, right, people won't know if you need a hand or you need an ear or if you need anything at all. That's why it's so important for us to be a little bit vocal in everything that we do, right? It's all of us go through those hard parts. And when you cover it up as if, your poop doesn't stink and, right, you're the king of the hill and you got it all down packed, when truth, right, we utilize each other. We rely on each other. right? Well, quite often we take from each other, right? But if you have a conscience, right, and you took something without asking or without it being offered, if you're anything like me, that guilt and shame would surface so fast that you would find a way to reciprocate, to make it up, to find a way to give it back up, right? I think this group is pretty strong in that idea of the difference between right and wrong. It's something, I've always lived by because I didn't have a choice, right? But also the people that I surrounded myself didn't offer up a lot of opportunity to sway too far off the track. I did hang with partiers. I did hang with drinkers. But for me, I never took anything at face value because I have seen actual physically beautiful people have the ugliest of hearts, and I have seen the most beautiful people also have some of the most beautiful hearts ever. And that's how I dictate who I'm going to be around, right? It's how I feel around you, how I feel that how genuine you are with me, and more importantly, being the person that I am, and you may be a little bit sensitive, how we get along with you, not just how you get along with us, but how we get along with you. Does that make sense? Because it's not just a one-sided thing. We have to both be genuine in that relationship, right? To each one of us. It's like me and my sisters, me and my sisters are so different, right? We can butt heads on a lot of issues, but for the most part, we don't because, right? We have different lives. We are so different. We are so opinionated on our own terms, right? And we also know who we're butting up heads with, and we know the consequences of, right, rubbing family, rubbing those ones that are the closest to us off in the wrong way, right? And we do it, and it's hurtful, it's revealing, it's also revealing, but like I said, I surround myself around people without the judgment of looks in any way, without the judgment of age in any way. I mean, my husband was 10 years younger than me. I feel people out, and that's how I surround myself with people because, well, it's part of that hypervigilance, right? Of being highly sensitive or being very hypervigilant about our surroundings or controlling about our surroundings that way, right? That it's just naturally built into us that we want to know who the people are that we're surrounding ourselves with, taking it advice from, following in their footsteps more often than not. That's what I'm doing because in the evidence, I want to see that evidence, right? And lots of times that evidence comes from somebody else using that tool in their own life and having big strides, and right? And I've been following suit with that and learning off of so many different, unique, from all walks of life. And it is incredible, right? I came home from my holiday, you guys, and I was a little bit disappointed because the headlines hit me right away, right? I had a lot of going on. I was really, really busy putting the camping gear away, looking for my footage from my holidays. There was a lot of footage. I took all the storage in my Google account all the storage on the cameras themselves, and I had like 64 GBs of RAM in both of those. And I gobbled everything up. So I want to get to editing videos right away. But not all my videos. Some of my videos out in Spaceland somewhere. I can't even find out where they hit it and what file or anything, because they're just not going to upload it to my Google account because there's no space for it. But those videos are my very first camping videos, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, how do I get around that? Right? You can't start in the middle of the holiday. You can't start at the end of the holiday and work backwards. You have to start in the beginning. So my solution is, well, we're going to get some storage on that, and we'll see how the funds are this payday. I still have fallen behind in my bills, but it's right, only a week's worth. But that money could have gone into the dental. It wasn't the immediate plan. It was a thought that maybe I'd be able to put some extra money away and get that dental done this month. But it's like my camping trip, you guys. 11 provincial parks I had booked for this 2-week holiday that I put together. And then I also had 2 days in New York digging for Herkimer diamonds. Quickly into my holidays, I realized I was spending a lot of time on the road. I was coming in to my camps after dark almost every single night. And about halfway through, I was becoming a little bit disillusioned with that. But at the same time, this was my holiday, so I was determined to have a good time anyway. But my solution to that was to give up the New York part of my holidays and spend all my holidays in Ontario, which is exactly what I did. I still had to pay for spots for camping and stuff, but the money in the gas, because I did have a gas guzzler, you guys, if you want to, well, you'll see the truck in the videos as I release the videos. I've kind of found a solution to how to get the videos up to you guys. It's the first one is going to be one of the Walk With Me Cindy Jeans. And we're going to go for a walk on a trail. And that video is almost ready to go. I just have to splice each segment together, get a thumbnail, and I got lots of great landscapes and stuff that I can make a good thumbnail for it, and we'll shoot that up. That's a 15-minute video, right? Then I'll back up that footage from that video to a memory card, right? To a hard drive, and we'll delete it from a Google Photos, which will release 15 minutes of being able, this is my idea, I don't know if it'll work, be able to release 15 minutes of storage, and then at least get the ball rolling. Now, if that's enough, because I think it was just two days of footage, that's kind of still not in the account yet. I think everything else made it. I had to do some search because I was using an old phone that had an old date on it. I was pretty smart that I actually thought to look way, way back in, and it was filed in a 2020 file. So a file that was from like 4 years ago in one of my Ontario trips. So I tracked that down. I moved that file to the front of the line. Those are my last videos. When I started, right when I filled up storage in my one phone, I didn't want to do anything with it but just leave it. And then I used my old phone and I filled that one up too. So you guys, you're gonna love. I hope you love what I put together. I know creativity in my mind. I have a vision for that. But you guys know that I'm not super technically inclined. But as a YouTuber, there are skills that we have to practice and we have to learn, right? It's all about video on YouTube. So these are skills that I have to learn. I believe I get better and better at it the more I do it, but I'm not on the road as much as I used to. Right? We're working a lot in the inside. At least we have been for the past few years, right? How long has it been since the COVID, you guys? Wow, things are full steam ahead, right? I very rarely see anybody wear a face mask anymore. And it's not like the COVID is still not here because, when I don't see some of my regular customers after a while, and they come in and go, oh, I haven't seen you for a while, right? Oh, I had COVID. Oh my goodness. And it surprises me, right? Because it was so top of mind not 2 years ago. And now, right? These face masks, they roll into the store every day as donations. People are, right, getting comfortable with not wearing their masks anymore. Grateful I haven't been sick. Usually, when I come back from my big holiday in September, I'm usually pretty sick afterwards. I always catch a cold afterwards, and I'm pretty out of it for about a week. But I'm working it out, right? Because I'm back at work and I work it out. And I didn't get that this year. Physically, I felt amazing. Everything was running smoothly. I didn't have one Charlie horse in 2 weeks. I think that's probably the longest span I've gone in years with no horses. I was attentive to the fluids that I was putting into me because I knew I was going to be doing some hiking and some hauling, and I did all of that, right? But the trip was amazing. It was exciting. It was frustrating. It was scary in some moments, and it was dazzle and amaze, and it was, I don't know, something something pretty neat, something pretty unique to other years that I have taken off into Ontario. And that's okay because that's what I want. I want that change. I want that difference, right? But I think it was just in the way everything played out, how I was on the move constantly. You guys, like I said, I rolled into camp after dark every single night, trying to be very quiet, not to disturb the other campers. And I would wake up in the morning and be totally blown away by what was in front of me. I can honestly say I'm not sure if I would trade any of my camp spots. In one campground, not too sure about this campground, but it's not the campground's fault because I did pick one campground and it was packed, you guys. People were taking their motorbikes and they were driving their motorbikes to the outhouse instead of walking. It was like Crazy Town Park. And I woke up in the morning and I said, I'm never coming back here again. This is just like the worst park ever. And then in the morning before I left, I always want to take a walk in the park and in the campground and see the RVs. I find, how people are out on the road, their vehicles, right, how they live, how they set it up, right? The solar panels. I'm interested in all of that because I want to be an RV girl at some point. I want my own Class B motorhome. I do, right? It would be an amazing life, an amazing retirement for me if I could have something like that. That life that would allow me to do the things that I love so much. I worked hard in my life, right? Harder than I harder than what I realized, right? I always knew I was a hard worker, but I thought of it as that necessity. as I'm maturing, we're getting close to retirement, right? We're going to tread water. We're going to work hard to get that ball rolling, right? To get myself better situated for when it is time for retirement. I don't know how much of my audience is retired, right? But I'm sure lots of my audiences, right, are because they're caregivers. There's not a lot of time to put into full time work at the very least. And I don't think any of us should have to or even want to be working full time. Once you hit your 60s, that's when you should be taking care of yourself, looking at how you can make your life a little bit easier for yourself, a little bit more comfortable for yourself. I was doing a lot of this thinking when I was out on my trip. Going to go get a full exam, health exam, just to see where I stand. I am grateful for my good health, right? But I do believe if you can get the heads up on something that's not going so well, that maybe, right, you could put a little bit of effort in it, not being compulsive, but put a little bit of effort into that just to better our well-being, right? It's the whole point, right? Let me have a sip of my coffee. I made a cup of coffee. This was my first weekend back to work. My shoulder is a little bit sore, but I was working out every single day on my trip. I hauled all my stuff out of the truck almost every single day, rearranged it and put it back in the truck, right? I was constantly cleaning that truck. I didn't want to ruin it. Very important. One of those decisions is we're going to work really hard, you guys. I know I said it last year, but this year, right, the goal is not to make enough money, to save enough money to rent a good vehicle. I want to purchase my own vehicle so that I have a vehicle when I get home, so that I can make some movement, right, in my life that might better situate myself for exactly what I was talking about, retirement, right? Still a ways, you guys. I have 5 years even before I'm thinking about that. But I'm thinking about it. I want to be set up. There would have been no chance for me, right? 6, 7 years ago, there would have been no chance for me. I would have totally 100% relied on the government in my retirement. It sure would be nice to better situate myself that there is, right, some income drizzling in along with the pensions so that I don't have to wear myself to the bone, right? Old age in my family has not been something that's been very prominent for like the big joke in our family is that nobody lives into their 40s, like, barely into their 40s. I know in my lifetime, my father's aunts and uncles, who weren't blood, but the aunts were, that they got to live into their late 40s before they passed away. My grandmother lived into her 50s. My father lived to be 47, right? But he joined forces with my mother where the long lifespans were. And my grandfather, also on my dad's side, married my grandmother, and my grandfather lived to be 91 years old. I think going forward, my family will be better situated to be able to live a little bit longer. That heart disease and stroke, it's still running in the family. But I do believe that as we get that diversity into our systems, as we intermingle and have babies with each other and not necessarily look at our cultures and our, right, those traits and traditions that kind of stunt us sometimes because we get stubborn in the beliefs that we grew up in, and we don't leave any space for something new ideas and stuff, right? So, yeah, the kids do have a much better chance at success than we did if they have their babies, right? It's really bad, you guys. Even myself, I was an accidental motherless, right? I would have loved to have had kids in all truth, but also in my upbringing, I wasn't too sure whether I would have been a good mother. And to be truthful, even in that, with the upbringing that I had, I'm not sure if I would have been a really great mother. I know I would have been a good mom now. I know I would be, right? The lessons under the belt, right? The passion and the understanding, right? But back then, no, even a half a dozen years ago, I don't think I could, right? Things work out the way they do for a reason. And I always had that idea, right? That I wasn't going to have children. And when my husband also had that idea that he didn't want to have children, that, right, we settled into our marriage and just lived for ourselves in all truth, right? When my marriage fell apart, I was almost 40 years old, right? It's not like I didn't try, but it didn't work out for me. And I think probably I would have caused myself and any children a great disservice if I had had children, right? Not that I wasn't a good person, but because there was a lot of epigenetically, things going on in the family that I don't know whether or not I would have been that same person to my own children. In truth, right? I probably would have taken that best friend role, which probably isn't too good. Or I would have overcompensated because we all want to do better by our children than how we grew up, right? So yeah, it wouldn't have been good. Things work out for a reason, but in the end, unintentionally, I didn't have children, and it's becoming the norm. Let me come into the comments for a few minutes, you guys. Okay, Kathy and Andrew and Owen Williams here. Oh my goodness. Um, yeah, I hope you guys like the videos. Like, I enjoyed making them. I enjoy working with the camera and everything. The editing is a little bit of a bummer for me. I'm not good at it, and I know I'm supposed to say I'm fantastic at it and stuff. I don't even want to be fantastic at editing, right? I just want to get good enough that we make enough so that we can get Cindy an editor to do the editing for us and make some fantastic adventure videos. Wouldn't that be amazing? We'll get there, you guys, but I'll do the very best that I can. And in the way that I film, I know my limitations. I know the things that I'm not good at. So I splice things and I pick up where I left off in a way that the things don't really need editing in the sound. For me, I like going live, right? I like going live because you can't take it back, right? Whatever comes out of my mouth comes out of my mouth, and I have to own what comes out of my mouth. Sometimes when I watch my videos, and you can even do that with, oh, I guess you can't do it with this video, but if you watch any video, you can put your cursor over the video and you can see the cuts, right? Those are the retakes. Those are, oops, I burped, or oops, I don't look good, or oh, I don't know if I should have said that, or oh, let me think about that, or right? So those conversations, unless you're super big, right? I probably won't take it to heart because that shows me unsuredness in the lives. Like I said, I can't take it back. What comes out of my mouth comes out of my mouth, and I take ownership of that, right? But today I was just coming in to talk about my holiday. Do you guys want to hear about the animals? Let me read the comments. I'm glad to hear the trip was such a good experience for you, Cindy. I hope you recharged for another year. Oh, I did, and it was a running joke at work because when I came into work on Thursday night, which was my first night to work, all the regulars were coming in to see how my holidays and stuff. And I left my phone at home and decided, oh, don't go back and get your phone. People are just going to want to see the pictures from your trip. And you probably know that things probably need to be cleaned and organized at work. There's probably lots of work for you. So I left my phone at work my first day, which was Thursday. But it was funny because, well, number one, I needed holidays to recuperate from my holidays just because every single day, like I was hauling and taking things out and getting myself in situations and also stalling out in the experience of what I was immersing myself in because I wasn't going to get there at night and then leave first thing in the morning without having the experience of each and every one of the parks that I chose. Next year, we will do 5 or 6 parks, but we'll stay for 2 days in those parks. Tell you right now so that when we get to those videos, Charbot Lake was my favorite lake. And it wasn't for one particular reason, it was the whole package. It was how the lady at the head office treated me, to the beauty of the campsite, to the truck warden, the guy who drives around the park to make sure everything's okay, how he knew I was in trouble and he let me follow him to my campsite and he got me to my campsite. To have the seclusion and the wilderness in that park. It was a total experience. But every single park that I went to, you guys, I couldn't take back. In my book, you can see my book right here. I took this with me. I have a couple of receipts that are still loose in here. But each day I would staple the receipts from my trip and the stickers and the fridge magnets and the maps they would give them. But this was the park that I absolutely just loved. I thought this park was absolutely amazing. If you wanted to Google it, the whole experience. But there were a few parks, you guys. I would have to say, out of the 12 parks, because I ended up doing 12 provincial parks, I would have to say 5 of them were just crazy magnificent. Lake Superior, the spot I had at Lake Superior, just tucked away in the beaches. It wasn't even a beachfront. I could have had a beachfront camping spot there, right? If I had wanted to. I had my own beach. I had my own ropes and pillars to my own beach there. I could have, but I wanted to be tucked away in the bushes and that. And oh my goodness, that was a big culprit, that one, because it took me a while to get to Lake Superior, number one. And it took me a while to get out of that park. I could have stayed there all day. I think I was there till like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm not too sure, but beautiful Lake Superior Provincial Park, Charbot Lake, right? Bonnechere Lake. There were lots of really magnificent. And my very last Caliper Lake was they were all beautiful. And I had little spots, you can see, right? Um, let's go to any one of these. I need a front page. Come on, give me a front page. Okay, so I'll just show you this one here, right? So this was my site at Silent Lake, and this was the lake with the motocross bikes, right? And it only happened, it was only because there was a big event in that area, and it was inexpensive, I guess, for everybody to go camping, and it was easy access to get to where they needed to be for the big race. But I didn't know that all the time. I just thought it was one big packed park that was loud and couldn't follow the rules. But it was a once in a while, I would assume, event. But on each spot, I left a little one here because I booked all my spots online. I did all the research and looked at the pictures and the different accesses that I had and different features of each park. And then so I left a little spot there thinking I would get the park wrong. And so I had the park I went, and then in the morning I'd go take a walk around, and then I would see if there was a park, a camping spot that was better than the one I had. Not one. Out of the 12 provincial parks that I did, they were absolutely perfect. My spent a lot of money on gas. Oh my goodness. I had the Infinity, amazing truck. You'll see it in the videos 100%. But it was a gas guzzler. But I felt safe in it. I was comfortable sleeping in it. It had a lot of space for everything that I needed. And yeah, it was a pretty truck. It was a meaty truck. It was an it girl truck. Exactly what I wanted. And it was exactly what I got. Okay. I'm glad to hear the trip. Oh, that's hard setting up in the dark. Yeah, Kathy. It wasn't too much because before I left every day, kind of in my estimates, and after the first couple of days getting into my camp, sometimes I would get there at like 8 o'clock at night, which is only like 15 minutes or 20 minutes after sunset, right? But for the most part, it was like, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. And there was a couple of times, maybe once or twice, that I got there during the day. Charbot Lake was one of those where I was supposed to. I still got there when it was still light, but I should have got there in the afternoon, but I got lost. I got lost, and I added an extra 4 hour drive to that day. But the drives were amazing, right? I didn't mind at all. And I didn't say no to myself for anything that I wanted, right? I made it. That was something my dad did at Christmas. On Christmas Day, the answer no was not allowed. It was not allowed. The only thing is Christmas Eve, I had a limitation of how many oranges I was allowed to eat, and I wasn't allowed to eat any oranges on Christmas Day because, yeah, my stomach couldn't handle the orange and the chocolate and the mincemeat and right all of that stuff. So there, that was the only thing of no. Otherwise, the answer was what? You didn't even have to ask permission. You could just do whatever you wanted, right? As long as you were there for Turkey Day, as long as you were there for dinner. Yeah. Yeah, so I treated my holiday like that. If I wanted fridge magnets or stickers or firewood or ice, or I wanted to go and get a coffee, or I wanted to go and get something to eat. I went to McDonald's, I think. Did I go to McDonald's? Wendy's. I went to Wendy's, and I like the Wendy's hamburgers with the lettuce and the tomatoes and stuff. And yeah, so it was wonderful. And you guys, I haven't even looked at my crystals and rocks it. Got about 150 pounds in all honesty. But I'm thinking maybe about 75 pounds of it is going to be good rock and good crystal. I got tons of rocks from everywheres I went. I did my Tory Hill out in the bush digging for crystals. I did my burrow. I went to the burrow pit, and that was so much fun. I actually went twice. The first time I couldn't find it, and I couldn't even find the town where I was supposed to pick up my license to do the mining. So I just carried on to the next park, but I knew I was coming back, so I just came back the next day, and we got it done. And that's when I picked up the extra park Bonisher because it was close to the dig. And that day I got in very late. I got in there very, very late because I decided, oh no, I didn't. Oh yes, I did. I came in after dark quite a bit. Next time I want 2 days in each campsite. There is no compromise on that. Maybe one day I'll do 3 days. I don't know, but for sure 2 days. So if I get there after dark, um, then at the very least, I'll have one full day to camp and enjoy my spots. Oh my goodness! Like I can't even recall. It was numerous times a day that my heart would have that little burst of happy. You know, I was gonna say joyousness, but it was kind of like happy. Like this was all worth it. Anything struggle that I have right now, it was worth it. I went to get some gas. I was on empty and I was coming out of Quatico, I think, park. And it's a big park. It takes a few hours to come out of that park. And my truck being a gas guzzler and going into the park at a half tank full, I needed gas by the time I came out of that park. And finally came to a small town, and oh, thank goodness I can get some gas in my car. And I pulled up to the gas tank, and I went in to go get some gas, and I couldn't find my wallet. I couldn't find my bank card. I couldn't find my driver's license. I couldn't find any of it. And right away, I went into panic mode. So I took my car away from the gas station so somebody could use that pump, and I drove off to a little parking edge or something. And I tore absolutely everything out of my truck. And I went through everything looking for my change purse with my cards in it. You guys, I was panicked because numerous times I thought I lost my wallet. Numerous times I thought I lost the truck keys, right? Numerous times. And and so I kind of, I guess, went a little bit paranoid, and I just breathed in really deep. I said, okay, Cindy, calm down. And this is after about, 20 minutes of pure, oh my goodness, what did I just do? How do I get to a bank? Right? When I went into the gas station, well, let's just say I found my wallet. And where was my wallet? Exactly where it was supposed to be, in my zipped up compartment in my purse. Went into the gas station, told the guy at the gas counter about what I was doing. I said, is there a bank in this town or a TD in this town? He says, not even a bank, dear. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, how would I have gotten that money? I didn't even have, oh, I did have some ID. Oh my goodness, yes. Oh, I did have some ID. I would have thought of it. I would have thought of it. Yeah, because when I was going to go to the States, I took all my ID and my passport, and I had it in a separate container in a file folder that I took with me. So I'm sure I would have remembered that all my ID was there. So if I could have found a way to get to a TD, I would have been able to be okay. But there was no bank. There wasn't even a bank in that town. I didn't even have any way to get any gas. I didn't have, right? My car was on empty. And that was pretty scary, you guys. But I put myself in there because the key was exactly where it was supposed to be. Or not the key, the bank card was exactly where it was supposed to be. I was such a silly girl, right? But that's what happens when you're paranoid about something that doesn't belong to you, right? I'm always a good driver. But I can't be a good driver for the person in the car in front of me or the car behind me or the car that's trying to pass me, can I? So a lot of that is just trusting that the people in the vehicles around me are good drivers too. But I was worried that I was going to get some dings or I'd get a flat tire. The truck would end up in a car shop. So there was that bit of a nervousness. That's why this year I want to really do good by myself and see if we can save enough money to get maybe a caravan, mini caravan. Those go fairly cheap and you can get those safety because they weren't used lots, right? Or they were used lots, but they didn't have a lot of wear on them. Or they're good vehicles. I don't know, but there's a lot of them and they're safety. And we'll see, right? It was the plan for last year. I didn't quite make it. This was a good plan B for me. And it worked out great. But coming home and in this moment, it doesn't serve me, does it? If I had a vehicle to take on the trip and then come home, right? And have that vehicle to move about and expand in my life. Because wouldn't that be a credit to my life if I could achieve that this year? But there's a few things. Cindy needs a new computer. I got the laptop, but I want the computer too. I've always had a PC. I like to be, what do they call it, ground line, right? I like to have use the Wi-Fi for my phone and my laptop on the PC, right? And then use the laptop for just when I'm editing videos and and with the new PC, well, then we can go back and we'll just put this camera that I'm using because I remember we got the widescreen, the good camera. We're not using the PC camera anymore or the laptop camera anymore. We're using a new webcam that can go on with um, the new PC when I get it. But I got the dental this year to do. I have the 54 powerful words deck to get cracking on, you guys. Right? I worked on it during my holiday. You'll see it in the video. Each morning before I left, it was the last thing I do. I'd lay out all my maps and all my information for the day and everything. And remember those last 14 words were the last words that I had that I put a saying or we're looking at manufacturing and looking at oh, production, right? And we're looking at marketing, deciding how we're going to market that. There's a few ideas that I have, right? I think these deck of cards will serve very, very well, right? They're powerful words that each, every one of us need in our lives, right? They're not like tarot cards. Well, they are kind of like tarot cards, but they're yeah. So it's a little bit different, right? We're not telling the future, but we're talking about the words that can mold the future if we so choose. Okay, here we go. Coming down in the comments. Um, what's going on, Owen? I'm coming down here. Um, I'll message Andrew. I'll message Andrew on my day off and see how his sisters had pneumonia numerous times, and it's pretty hard. Isn't Andrew just the sweetest man ever? Right? Like, oh, remember when he got strep and he almost died and he still showed up in the hospital bed on my live show and didn't say anything. But I am grateful that Andrew let us know. Oh, that's amazing, Andrew. Thank you so much for letting us know. And I'll check on you tomorrow or the next day, okay? You take care of yourself, Andrew. Oh my goodness. Take care of yourself, Andrew. Yeah, that's not like Andrew, is it, you guys? He must be really sick. Aw. Having busy time too, eh, William? Oh my goodness. And how are things going with you, Owen? Right? Sure, you're just as busy. I'm sure your mom's keeping you busy, is keeping you busy, right? Let us know how your mom is doing and how are you managing to get out and go for walks and a bit. I didn't come into the shows for a little while, you guys. Or no, I'm sorry. William, William is here. Melvin, I was going to say, Melvin comes into my chair. He doesn't as often come to Chatters Live as he used to, right? And he's making some serious movement. And when Melvin does, guys, 75 years old, he has cat out. He got his truck driver's license back. Isn't that incredible? 75 years old. It was important for him to get his license back, and he did it, right? So, yeah, he's pretty excited about his life now, right? He's pretty happy. He was a little worried about having those tracks removed, but he did it, and immensely. I can tell and he's but I really feel the happiness starting to crawl back into his life, right? And I think that is beautiful. I gotta put in the work. Well, you guys gotta stay busy, right? But they're going good, William. Thank you for messaging me and saying hello to me today. That was really nice of you. I appreciate that. Oh, I'm cutting out. Yeah, I do have a strong signal tonight. Yeah, it's only at a number one today. But I noticed I did have some technical issues when I first came in live. It would kick me out of my live show. But it's not buffering on my end, but I can see that the signal is not super strong, right? Let me just check here if there's something I can do to boost it. Yeah, it's not boosting it in any way here. Yeah, but I do notice that it's what it is. Sorry. I'm sorry for that, but things happen for a reason. Oh, that's good. That's good, Kathy. But yeah, I'll come back into my live later and see if there was something that I could do. Like I said, when I came in live today, I didn't have a good signal. The weather has been a little bit funky here. Thank you so much, Kathy. You kept me in cheese and crackers on the road on this trip, and you kept the squirrels and the chipmunks and the birds all pumped up on seeds and peanuts. Yeah, it was magnificent. It was so much fun sitting in front of a campfire or waking up in the morning. I'd have like entire campsites. A lot of these campgrounds I was in right? Because I like to do this trip in the middle of September. It was like the last week of these campgrounds before they shut down for winter. So I was by myself pretty much in a lot of these parks, and at least in my campground area. I never saw a lot of campers at all. There were some RVs and stuff, but actual campers, there weren't a lot of them, except in that one park that I said that had the motocross competition, right? But that wasn't even their fault, right? Because people were just packing the park, and we're going to send some good cheer out to the fire station, right? They're heading off on a call. Hopefully, they get to their destination and everything's okay, and they can just turn around and go back to the station. Yeah. So, let me show you one of my crystals, you guys. Wish Andrew got to see this one, but maybe I'll show him a picture. Shame on me. And right here, can you see it? Right, that one there. I accidentally put the crystal upside down, and I heard it roll out of its paper and hit one of my pots. And when I pulled it out, I could see that part of my crystal here got chipped out on that. But look at the crystals in that. That's just a big honking piece of amethyst. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that gorgeous? Yeah. I didn't dig this one, you guys, right? I'm being honest. This was a cheap crystal. This one, though, it only cost me $40. If I had to buy this in a shop or something, it'd be over $100 for sure. But because I bought it from the mine that I was, right? You'll see it in the videos. I took videos of a lot of the rocks and stuff, and I went through everything. And I could have picked any rock I wanted. Like I said, I wasn't saying no to myself. But I just loved the matrix. I just loved that this was just a big honking piece of amethyst. And then I loved at the top those great big huge crystals on top, all those points, right? So I chose this one. For the amethyst that I dug myself, I was looking for matrices. Matrices are flat pieces, kilometers or something like that, hectares. That 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 these rocks get up in the water. They're absolutely perfectly round, smooth, no rough edges at all. And I spent a lot of time looking at rocks at Lake Superior. Enjoyed a bit of rock, but of all kinds of rocks. Like I said, I think I got about 150 pounds of rocks. And I can know, maybe if I put this out, this would help. Let me pull this out. I bet you that would help. No, it's the same. Um, yeah, so I got a ton of rock. I haven't even washed it, you guys, right? I started to sit down and to do a last video with you guys in my last park. And so I set up my little camp chair and a bucket of water and brought all my rocks, and I was making a video, and I could see running out of storage. I could see it across, and then the video, I went, oh my goodness, I better end it, otherwise I'm going to lose this video completely. And then I restarted the video, and as soon as I restarted the video, I ran out of storage completely. But it was my last campsite. So on the way home, I didn't get any at all because there's no size, so that it keep loaded my Google Photos, right? I was on road. I was my itinerary. I didn't know when I started it, but it had definite timing to it. Yeah, so much fun. It was everything that I was amazing except the work of it. But I'm grateful that, I had that little bit of space in between when I went to Herkimer and when I started to make that decision to cut it out of my holiday. It just took so much off of me to know that everything will be okay. I won't run out of money. I won't get in like 3 minutes before, right? I have books and stuff. I won't be on the road the whole time. Two of my parks, 2 days rather than just one day. That's the idea. In the end, back to the park that I could, or not that park, to that crystal dig I couldn't find when I passed through. And I went back there and I found it. I got my license and we got to have a little dig, and that was the one with the motocross bikes and everything. But you guys will see that when I upload that. The first video, you guys, is going to be a walk with me, Cindy Jean. I did have all the other video, but like I said, today I cleared out my entire laptop again, and I wiped everything off, and we're starting fresh. I'll do the walk with me. It's a trail hike and a conversation, right? Be able to erase that from my Google Photos because within 30 days I'll get that storage back, and then I'll just turn my backup on, and hopefully, right, this is enough. It was amazing the way that it turned out. Like I said, frustrating, scary, right? Challenging, every day challenging, tons of lessons, tons of fun, great conversations, right? Problem solving, beautiful views, fresh air, tree hugging, squirrel feeding, bird feeding. Okay, the animals that I saw on my trip, you guys. I saw in total 21 wild turkeys. A group of six, one in a group of one. Turned out to be 21 uh, wild turkeys. I saw 4 grouse, and one of the grouse was so big, I actually thought it was a turkey to start with, and oh no, that's not that's a grouse. 2 moose, you guys. One moose, I felt I was driving at the time, and by the time I got close enough, it had already turned back into the bush because the road. It was the road, so it turned around. But also, there was a baby bear who did exactly the same thing. I saw a bear and the road too because it was close to the clear boulevard of the highway, and then all of a sudden it just turned around and it ran back into the bush. And I don't know if the mom said, get back here, right? Or there's a car coming, or it just got spooked by the vehicle itself. But I did say a baby bear. I saw a coyote. I haven't seen a coyote for a very long